There are some follow-up albums to a highly successful work that make you realize an artist has everything going for them. They can be around for generations and they will always live up to expectations. There are other follow-up albums to a highly successful work that leave you scratching your head and going, what the heck happened? How could this be possible? And when it's those follow-up albums that shouldn't be successful but somehow are, is when we should be regretting the past. For the past few months, I have taken some time out of reviewing the current releases in the world of rock and shed some light on some of the best-selling albums in this genre. Specifically, the ones that probably shouldn't have been so successful considering what was involved. After coining the phrase Triforce of Suckage, I was asked countless times of when I would complete the focus of the three smelliest butts of butt rock that are Limp Bizkit, Nickelback, and Creed. And today, we complete the Triforce, and look at a massively successful selling album that in hindsight probably should not have been as big of a deal as it was. Weathered by Creed. For better or worse, Creed is a household name. After millions of pro and hate videos, parodies, praises, countless awards, and one of the best-selling albums in the United States of all time, it was inevitable that a band finally be caught down from the mountaintop they were on. Looking back at the history of Creed, My Own Prison, the band's debut album with at the time newcomer label Wind Up Records, starting hitted radio play like a battering ram, flooding rock stations with 4 consecutive #1 songs in the title track, Torn, What's This Life For, and One. This album would go on to sell over 6 million copies in the US, and a huge feat for a debut rock album. After such an impressive showing, Creed topped themselves by releasing Human Clay in 1999. This album, with virtually no help from MTV, would take the rock world by storm, with more radio play than Justin Bieber could even get in Canada. Spearheaded by the song Higher and also featuring the song With Arms Wide Open, yes, the song that everyone and their mother loves to laugh at, Human Clay would go on to sell over 11 million copies. Creed have a diamond certified album. Looking back at the past discography of Creed, My Own Prison, their debut, really wasn't that bad. There was some merit behind it. There actually are a few songs really worth listening to. Even Human Clay, although it's one of the most overplayed albums of all time, still has a few songs that are worth checking out. It's in by no means a masterpiece, but it's still not one of the worst things I've ever heard, and there are a few songs that are pretty good. But Weathered? I don't even know where to begin with this mess. Weathered, released in 2001, was the band's next step in turning things up a notch. In interviews before the release, Scott Stapp was even quoted saying that the album was everything Creed has ever done times 10. Well, yeah, but 10 times 0 is still 0, so it's not that impressive. So Weathered, the follow-up album to a diamond-certified release, is one of the most head-scratching and confusing follow-ups to a successful album that I have ever heard. It's truly an anomaly in what it offered, how it stood to the band's previous works, and what it offers to the listener, besides a headache. However, that was 14 years ago when this album was released, so it's probably not in the forefront of everyone's memory. So, just like I've done before, I'm going to listen to this album in entirety, dissect it track by track, and prove why this album, like others that were super successful at the time frame, probably is something we should regret supporting and listening to. Sweet mercy, this one could be really bad for me. I have to admit this song is a good way to open an album. The bass line in the beginning, which was played by guitarist Mark Tremonti because Creed's bassist Brian Marshall left at the time, did an amazing job with both guitar and bass in this song. I've heard some people argue that this is the hardest song that Creed has done. Whether you agree or not, you can at least hear there is some intensity in the song. Lyrically, it is a little self-indulgent though. It was written during the time when Brian Marshall left the band. It doesn't get much of a point across though than hearing, "At least look at me when you shoot a bullet through my head," making it sound like a proud martyr to a coward. It's hard to wrap your head around. Oddly enough though, a CGI music video was made for this song that cost over $400,000 to create. That's right, this 3-minute video of Creed Warriors that most people haven't even seen costs more money to make than what most people's homes are worth. Really let that sink in. This song was also played on Saturday Night Live. Keep in mind though that this was the time when Saturday Night Live wasn't doing as well and Mad TV was becoming huge and had a cult following. Possibly for reasons like this. All in all, this isn't a terrible song. Good rhythm and it flows and is a strong way to start an album. If the rest of the album is like this, I don't have too much to worry about. I may have something to worry about. From track 1 to track 2, it just turned into really generic filler. After a few guitar riffs, they just jump into the basics and talk about being a part of a group of people facing their enemies. It's like a Queen song if Queen got really lazy and rushed Another One Bites the Dust into something generic. And without the awesome bass line. Or talent. You know, it's nothing like Queen at all. Everything about this song just screams filler, and it is never a good sign when track 2 on an album already goes into the filler material. However, as far as filler goes, at least this song is short. Come to think of it, Bullets was decently short too. Again, this might not be as bad if all the songs are like this. How long is track 3? Oh, come on! I have to say, opening up a song with a Cherokee Indian prayer is something unique. It gives it an atmosphere and makes it feel big. Maybe this one will actually prove to be something good. I was at least right with the song feeling big. It's over 8 minutes, and you can tell that this track has some passion put into it. The guitar sounds strong, and Stapp's voice actually works here pretty well. My only issue is with the title, Who's Got My Back? The rest of the lyrics actually sound pretty deep and meaningful, but then it's capped with a chorus that contains a phrase you'd hear from a frat guy at a bar fight. Wasn't there a better way to get that point across? I know it's a nitpick, but to be fair, this song at least has some momentum. And with that, it has hit me that this is where things start to go downhill. Everything you've heard up to this point is the strong side of this album. You just remember that while we go down this rabbit hole. This is not about sex. What was that? This is not about sex. Why was it necessary to repeat that? They didn't repeat it out anywhere else for other lyrics. What, were they just going for a shock moment? Was Scott Stapp so in the moment that he just had to shout out sex at the top of his lungs? Why? It's stupid and it adds nothing. Don't make other people chant it with you, you sicko. I don't get it. This song has great drum work and guitar riffs, and I like the rhythm, but it's all overshadowed by Scott Stapp shouting sex for no reason, and then going on like it never happened. Why? Really think about it. If you heard sex shouted at other songs just as randomly, it would fit in just as well as it does here, and it would make just about as much sense. Sex! I don't know why this is so funny to me. I'm sorry. How is this not some type of meme on the line? Keep going. This song is awful. If you enjoy it, that's fine, but I seriously think that One Last Breath is everything wrong with Creed. It wastes the talent of an amazing guitarist with a basic strum-by-numbers intro. It offers zero substance in one of the most cliche and generic choruses ever, and it was played everywhere. I mean, people talk about Higher being one of the more overplayed songs on radio ever, but at least Higher offered something and showcased a little bit of talent. This song is so melodramatic it might as well be acted out on a daytime soap opera. Not even the well-established ones either. I'm talking about the fledgling startup soap operas that die after one season so the actors are all desperate to get noticed. The guitar riff is basic, the lyrics are material that we've all heard before. Why was this song pushed so hard? It's as shallow as a kiddie pool, and it's like emo light versions of rock like this that are made to not offend anyone. Then again, the song could be worse. Shit! I'm sorry, but that's still really funny to me. This was the album's first single and had radio play 2 months before the album release. My Sacrifice played heavily on radio, TV commercials. It was even played behind sports montages for the NFL and WWE. My question is, why? This is as formulaic and generic as Nickelback. It's some type of reuniting love song or friendship, but then it ends with My Sacrifice? Why? What was sacrificed? Why was this song called this? Not only are the songs getting more generic and losing quality, but they're becoming embarrassing to listen to. It feels like an hour ago I listened to Bullets and now I still am barely just halfway. What, when they were making this in the studio and they just decided to say, screw it, this album will sell either way. Back to Vacation! It's getting worse. I'm getting kind of delirious at how ridiculous this is becoming. There are kids in junior high bands that are able to write better lyrics and quality than this. What the heck happened? Alright, this is getting mid-90s pop rock bad, like that Breakfast at Tiffany's song that when you listen to it, you drift off and forget you're even listening to any music. There are elevator songs that have more substance. It starts off sounding like Mark Tremonti is fiddling around with a few chords in the studio, and then just drives into another bland love or friendship song. So what, when you become a millionaire, you just forget about your motivation and start singing about your best friends and how you're good buddies? So are these guys just so in love with each other that they have to spend half an album singing about it? Also, did they really need to embellish the "yeah" at the end of the song title? Does that really add anything? Gotcha! I'm sorry. I'll keep it low to a minimum now. That'll never stop being funny to me. I will definitely give credit where it's due and say that Stapp's voice works very well here, or at least better than the other Creed songs. The guitar is fluid and the lyrics are at least something to get behind, or at least they are in the first half of this song. There is a sense that they took some time with Weathered, the song, not the album obviously, and that's a huge problem. It feels like so many of the songs on this album were recorded and mastered over the course of 30 minutes in a studio. No real intent or drive to make something special, just trying to flesh out the next payday, album. If I can hide from ever having to listen to this album again in entirety, then I can definitely think of reasons to hide. This song just further proves my point of filler and generic bland rock in this album. There is nothing here to really get behind or make me want to replay the song. It's a waste of Mark Tremonti's guitar work. It's a waste of Scott Phillips' drum work. It's a waste of time. I feel like My Own Prison had a dark undertone behind it. Human Clay had a sense of moving forward and realization. For those albums, at least there were those themes to get behind. With Weathered, we get a range from dying to meeting a long-lost friend to a Cherokee Indian prayer to Scott Stapp's screaming sex. What are they trying to get across with this album? Okay, seriously, they made a full music video for this song? They wanted Don't Stop Dancing as their push single to show them they belong in the rock scene? Come on, this is the type of stuff you were forced to sing in grade school music class by that teacher who's trying way too hard to be cool. This song was not only played on the pop stations, but it was even played during halftime of the NFL Thanksgiving game. Why? Did they really think this is what good rock fans would want to get behind? Did they really think people would want to hear Don't Stop Dancing and go, "Yeah, rock on!" Come on. We are near the end, finally. Well, this album at least opened up strongly and then kind of dipped in the middle being 40 minutes long, maybe it can end on a high note with a punch, something really to get you motivated to want to listen to it. Hush, my love, now don't you cry. Everything will be alright. Yeah, rock on! Wow, so instead of ending on a high note, they ended their third album with something you play to a toddler to get them to calm down at night. Awesome. Lullaby ends on what can only be described as the perfect analogy and the perfect ending. If by the end of Weathered you aren't already bored to sleep, then you can hear Lullaby and seal the deal. What is the reason for all this? Why did they think Weathered was a good idea as a concept? It just feels like a bunch of songs thrown together to make sure they can pay off their mansions in time. I will say this though, this album really does cover a wide variety of topics, including a Native American prayer, screaming sex, your weathered up, dried, calloused skin, meeting up with your best friends and it somehow being a sacrifice, and topping it all off with a lullaby. What am I doing with my life? I'm intentionally listening to bad albums. I'm doing this for the amusement of other people who already know they're bad albums. What is wrong with me? Listening to this stuff is slowly deteriorating my soul. It's important to remember the past, but should I really prove what needs to be regretted? It's bad enough I'm now the guy in my apartment complex who screams into a microphone, but in my free time I have to listen to a grown man yell sex? Why? How can I be expected to keep doing this if it's just gonna drive me insane? What's the point? What do you want? This is not about sex. Sex! It's not funny anymore. Sex! This is not about sex. Sex! 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 Oh man, it's making me choke. Alright. I'll keep doing these. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm totally up for suggestions on the next episode of Regretting the Past. Just leave a comment. Please subscribe to me on YouTube. It really helps out a lot. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, All That Rocked Reviews. And you can check out my last episode of Regretting the Past where I uncontrollably cry listening to Nickelback. Just click on the annotation here or the YouTube card on the top right. Snacks! Snacks! Snacks!
Hey, thanks, Snacks.